This is Melissa Thomas with Florida National News, coming to you from the Citrus Club in downtown Orlando, where the Central Florida Urban League will be hosting their annual policy breakfast. Will we actually hear remarks from Governor Ron DeSantis today? This will be one of several stops of his, but he'll be speaking here and doing some policy introductions of his own. So stay tuned right here at FloridaNationalNews.com for those remarks. This is Melissa Thomas coming to you from downtown Orlando.
And throughout our history, black leaders have, in the face of sometimes insurmountable obstacles, challenged our country to, in Dr. King's words, be true to what you said on paper. And so I think when we honor the principles that make us unique, our country is better for it. And that was one of the reasons why I thought it was appropriate to pardon the Groveland Four, because that clearly was an example where our values were not honored. So I thought about what we face now in Florida and what are some of the opportunities in terms of expanding economic opportunity. And when I look at things like what happened with Amazon, look, there's a legitimate debate about subsidies, and I'm not somebody who thinks you can just pay businesses to come. But the bottom line is Amazon was driven off because of hostility in terms of the business climate and the economic kind of cultural views about that being bad because they were a wealthy company. I can tell you, if you want to come to Florida and create $150,000 a job pop, come on down. We want you, because I think that's more opportunity for our citizens. If you look at people who are looking to invest, probably the number one thing they want is human capital, education. We're doing a couple things. One is for students who go to college, get credits but don't get enough to get a four-year degree. We want the universities to be able to reverse credential somebody so at least they have an associate's degree, and then they can take that and perhaps build on that later. We also want to take students who come close to getting a bachelor's degree but don't quite get there. We want to provide financial support so that they can do what we're calling a last mile, where you can have access to maybe getting those last few credits online, because people's lives change and it's hectic, and I know. But if you can do that and get that, I think that's going to end up helping you. That we're fully funding the DOT's work plan, trying to do it. And I was like, you guys may think you sit in traffic in Tallahassee. Go to I-4, go to Miami. That is sitting in traffic. And so we understand that there are certain parts of the state, this being one of them, where the congestion is a problem. So we're going to work to address that. People are talking about affordable health care. We just made an announcement yesterday about lowering prescription drug costs, which is probably the biggest driver right now if you look at more things. I've already talked to the president. He's going to be supportive, but it's going to take a little time to get through some of the resistance that you'll see internal, I think, in the administration and in the Congress. But I think we'll get there, and I think that'll be, good for our state budget, but it'll also be good for individuals.
I just heard a bit of kind of an aside from the governor about Amazon and welcoming their second plan. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I thought they were very interesting, and they're aspirational. So we look forward to the future of Florida, and I think the governor has started out on a very high note at this point. I think that's something that impacts almost every American, every Floridian, is the cost of the health care. And if we can lower the cost of prescription medication, that will be a positive thing for our entire state.
And given how quickly he's been producing legislation, do you feel he's kind of a history maker in his own right?
Well, whenever you get elected governor, I think you're a history maker. And so regardless of who the governor is, I think we have the responsibility as good citizens to work with that leadership to try to impact the changes that we need to see.
Great. I think Governor DeSantis hit on the high marks: economic empowerment, job training, and the things that we needed to be doing in the community to grow jobs, grow education. So I think he really hit on it, because if you go back to the Urban League, our 5 pillars, we really focus a lot on economic empowerment, education, after-school tutoring, those kind of things. And the governor hit all those marks, so we were very, very happy with his presentation.
Awesome. And how do you feel the Urban League will be progressing forward from here?
Well, frankly, I think the Urban League, in as much as we have 7 chapters statewide, and we had our CEOs of most of those here today, I think the governor now has established a liaison with the Urban League, and I think the Urban League can serve as really a liaison back to the communities that are impacted by his policies. So I think we've established that relationship with the governor's office, and to me, that's good for both
National
parties.
News. We just wrapped up Governor DeSantis' keynote speech here at the Central Florida Urban League's policy breakfast. He touched on several points that were important to these guys. The main theme was education, and he talked about the different education initiatives he has in store in terms of helping parents allow their kids to choose the kind of schools that will be more beneficial to them. He also touched on the importance of healthcare, and he made an announcement yesterday actually of reducing prescription drug costs, so that was something of note here. And also, as sort of an aside, he mentioned the situation with Amazon pulling out of the New York project that they had going on, and he welcomes Amazon to bring their second plant down here. So we'll see how that goes. But stay tuned right here at FloridaNationalNews.com for our continuing politics and power coverage. This is Melissa Thomas coming to you from the Citrus Club.